what are we up to today? Well, we're going to do some more on the 6x6 ambulance, the Perentie ambulance. In order to do that, we need solar connectors, which I happen to find. Ones that I have removed off previous solar systems, because coming up to right up at the end of the year, we just simply don't have access to this stuff. There's all the electronics places are sold out. But I did manage to find some of this, some big hefty cable. Now we have two solar panels to go on the roof. They're 290 watts and 31 volts each, which works out to a little over 9 amps per solar panel. We're going to hook them together in a 60 volt string, and we're going to feed them into an MPPT controller that will charge the 24 volt battery for the rear section. Now they are going to take up nearly the entire roof area of the rear module, so we're going to have to custom make some frames there and make them quite sturdy. But this exact second, I just want to get some cables wired up, because I've got a few other things to do in the meantime. Alright, there we go. We have some solar power connectors on a big hunk of cable. So, I guess at the very least, what I can do now is I can temporarily hook this up to the regulator, rather, the MPPT regulator, and lay my panels out in the sun on the grass and check them out. Although it is now currently dusk, so that'll be tomorrow. I've got these guys on. And yeah, the rubber grommet, MIA. I will check over my footage and find out where that went. Alright, let's move on to the next bit. I've been shopping, and I also found a few things in the shed. I've got about 1,000 of these. They will become important in a bit. I found the correct size fuse for the fuse holder that I planned on using. So instead of this guy that I thought was too big, it's actually kind of too small. So I found the correct size fuse. If I can get into the damn packet. I've been using so much hand sanitizer that I can't actually get a grip on things. So we'll sort that out in a minute. I need to find my Allen key set to sort that out. I found a couple of baby bus bars that might be enough to do the job. They've certainly got a big enough hole in them, so that will be all. Alright, well I went to find my Allen keys and couldn't, because they're out in the ambulance somewhere. But I did find that my Victronox has exactly the right hex key for this job. So that is nice. Now these guys, there's a washer on there, but pretty sure these guys go like that. And then we can do you down nice and firm. Alright, I think I should probably put the washer on the top actually. That would seem to make a lot more sense. It would put a lot more contact area, would have a lot more surface area in contact with the terminal block. So I'll open these up a little bit more. I'm doing this before I put it in the bay because it'll become difficult once that's done. Let's put that in with the fuse under there. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And that also means the washers do their job of, well, they actually do a job. They're on top of things and they stop the screw from exerting rotary force on the contacts. Yeah, that looks better. There's a lot more surface area in contact with that now. That looks right. I should probably buy a spare fuse and keep it in that bay, but if I blow a 250 amp fuse, I probably want to leave things disconnected until I figure out what went wrong. Anyway, that can be my main battery fuse. These are terminal blocks. We're pretty well right to go with the solar panel, but we've got to get wheel alignment figured out first, because that's the more pressing issue. Alright, so I think I need to go and find my new delivery. I've had some jack stands show up. I found my old ones and one of them's bent, and I don't like the idea of putting 4.5 tons on a bent jack stand. So I bought some new ones. Alright, let's go look at that. these are considerably heftier than my old ones, and they've got safety pins in them, decent ones. I'm going to grab my old ones to compare. Alright, so well worth the upgrade on the old ones. I'm pretty glad I got new ones now. These are actually quite thin, so I feel much happier about putting the vehicle on these ones. Anyway, let's get everything moved. So, pull these safety pins out. Alright, now, jack happening. Lock here. That one. There. Alright. Don't need these guys on the belt while I'm under here. Now to get the radius arm under here. I just can't get the range of movement that I need to do a full swing on it. I'm glad we did this on the concrete. This is a heavy creature, this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, our jack is sagging. Alright. That's probably all we need to do. It's just barely on that, but the wheel's only just a little bit off. So the less distance it's got to fall, the less potential for momentum, which means the less danger to me. So that's our pitman arm. This is our tie rod up the back here that we've got to loosen. Alright. Yeah. So we do that. And we that's adjusting. Awesome. Alright. So we've gone about half a turn. What do you reckon? These spots. Because there's so much stuff in the way. So we're looking at, go between those guys. It's not the most reliable spot. That looks like about 1420. Yep. Okay. Alright. So where are you good against the rim? Yep. Come a little bit further out on the wheel. Yeah, right there. So we should be somewhere around 1420 there. So it'll be the red 14 and then the numbers past it. Alright, we've got the wheels probably closer to where they should be. Not professional by any measure of the word. They do look a little bit out from here, but the wheel is also turned slightly. We set the wheel at exactly top dead center. I guess you could use that phrase for the steering wheel. Set it in its central, normal, straight in a line position before we did this. Although the only adjustment we had is the tie rod in there. There is another rod which is from the pitman arm that will allow us to adjust this position of the steering wheel. I don't want to screw with that right now. I just need it to stop scrubbing tires for a little bit. So I'm going to take it for a quick test drive and we'll see how that goes. Fun getting this out of here. That's normally where we had to keep the wheel to keep it straight. So that's not bad. We haven't done drastic adjustments, which is good. Don't want to screw with it too much. I'll get the professionals to do this properly. Let's see, here we go. Second gear. Whoa. Just a gear change and people aren't slowing down. Alright, so I've been up to the local Super Cheap and they had oil on special. This is what I've been putting in my 4B for years and it works really well and everything's been nice and smooth and never had ever any starting problems or heating issues. So we're going to be sticking this stuff in the 6x6 as well. and probably the gearbox and transfer case, unless I can find a recommendation otherwise. Anyway, we're looking at solar panels, so I'm going to see if the hole spacing on this is the same as the hole spacing in this. This we purchased solely for the slotted steel. The timber and stuff I'll use for other things at some point, but I can't buy slotted steel anywhere, and the stuff I was going to buy was going to be about 40 bucks a length, and I needed at least 4 lengths. So spending 150 bucks on this actually wasn't all that bad. Now it does depict that it's a single straight stretch here, but there's actually a joiner in them, and I've checked the demo model set up at the shop, so we can work around that. Anyway, we want to get a strip of that out of here, so let's get this banding off. Alright, we have the box open. This is slotted steel. I'm nervous at this point because I'm hoping these line up. Well, not perfectly, but they're going to be enough to do the job. Alright, I brought a packet of nuts and bolts out here. Let's see what we can achieve with this. Let's put, I'm going to use these as a saddle, so go that way. So that will fit in that hole. That will probably not quite. That doesn't matter. I've only got to make 6 saddles, so I can probably hand make some saddles. The bit that was going to be hard to find was the slotted steel. Now these guys, I bought large headed guys in the hope that they won't fit through that hole, so that's good. So it does mean that if this suffers a bit of racking and this bolt shifts up to here, it's not going to pull through. So that is crucial. That's one thing I needed it to do. So at least the expensive part is going to be all right. So what I can probably do here is lay a piece of steel under here and give a quick spray with some black spray paint. I'll have exactly the shape that I need, and I can drill some saddles. 6 saddles by hand is not going to be too hard. So yeah, I'll find some stuff I've got to do that. Anyway, let's look through my box of bits and pieces from the old hardware store. Okay, so I had a bit of a brainwave. I took one of these brackets, put it in a vise and gave it 2 bends, which will suit what we need to do, and then I put it against here and the holes line up quite nicely. So let's whack a couple of bolts through this and just see if I'm not stupid. I could well be stupid, I don't know. Do stupid people know they're stupid? I don't know. What is the definition of stupidity? Some people say it's the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, but I think entropy probably disagrees with that. Well, that's going to work. I'm going to get a bit of decent coverage in there. I can probably whack a washer or 2 on there, but that will certainly bolt on, and that'll give me the nice little loop I need, obviously on the other side, to go around the top frame. So that actually is going to be really easy. So yeah, I'll grab 5 more of those guys and give them some bends. I'll be cooking with gas. Alright, so I don't want to damage this, so I've got a piece of pine on the ground, and I've got a piece of pine to use as a hammer to start with, and probably come around here a bit, and we'll try the soft approach first. So if we can get this in here. That's good, it doesn't mess up the end. It's gone on nicely. So let's get this other one here. I'll slot you in very gently. My dexterity's a bit out of whack. Well, let's give this a smack gently. Alright, needs a bit more. Yep. Alright. Well, improvised slotted steel, everyone. It's not perfect, and I reckon I can put some bolts through if I really need to hold it on. And if I have to put that dead center, I can probably still juggle a couple of bolts through there anyway. So, we're going to try and offset this so that's not exactly where we need it. So yeah, I'll do 6 more of these to put together. Alright, making 4 lengths in total. Alright, so we're up on the roof, and these brackets are kind of rusty, so I've got some fish oil up here for that. These are the roof vents that leak. Somebody used acid cure silicone on them, and they're aluminium vents, so I'm going to put some neutral cure silicone around there and seal them up properly. But for now I stuck some flashing tape on there just to keep us dry over the Christmas break. So I'm balanced on a ladder here, which I probably shouldn't be. These brackets are going to be ideal, I think. And let's see, will we get enough here? Beautiful. Alright, we can come just forward of that one or just back a bit. We have options. Alright, well, I've got all 3 on it. It does move a little bit. Definitely going to need to put some rubber shims under it, but I think I'm going to wait till I've got the panels on, because I've got a feeling that they'll push it right up against the edge, given that that's my measurement of exactly the width of the solar panels. So we've got to fish oil some stuff now, get this all shaked up, or shaken up, get my good stuff out of the way so it doesn't stink, and we'll give these brackets a spray. And I have to get up on the ladder for that one. We'll be back. Alright, our rails are mounted. Everything's got fish oil on it. It stinks like a bloody marina up here. But yeah, it's enough for the heat and humidity for me. I'm done and I'm breathless, and I think MS is causing problems with my legs, so time to call quits for a couple of hours. Okay, well, we have attached all these brackets. Had a bit of a flat battery, so while my camera was in charging, I put these brackets on. I've done them with self-drilling screws. I put 5 in each side, and crucially I've put one on the back of the hole here so that these guys can't accidentally vibrate off. That's doing well. So the next step, I'm going to have to run these, chop the zip ties off these cables, run them to their full length, and then I'm going to need an extra person to get these things on the roof. That may or may not be possible with the wind that seems to be picking up, so yeah, I might get these to a safe spot. Anyway, time to take another break. Alright, we're up on the top and we've got one in, and these rails look like they're going to pull up okay. I'm pretty sure I can whack. I'll work out how to stop these sliding around if they do once they're on, but I'm thinking it might be simple as a hose clamp around these things, because I don't want it racking backwards and forwards. But so far the system's looking like it's going to work all right. Anyway, I can't bolt that down until I've got the other one up, so I'm just going to take my time doing these things slowly. Alright, that's 2 panels up here. Now whilst they're loose, I need to get in between them and join the plug up, and then I'm going to bring the plugs off to one side here, the street side, the curb side, so that if I ever need to work on it, I can work on it on the side of the road without getting hit by a car. So going to move my ladder up here, going to join them up, and then take another break. I'm not doing this professionally, I'm doing this for my own interest, so I need to take a bit of break. I'm a little concerned that these 2 things will probably separate over time, because these are now not on a common rail. But I realized what I can do is I can make a double plate over that and bolt it on after the case, so that I can work on afterwards. But I want these up here now just because it's been bugging me for ages. So alright, let's get these joined up, and then we'll get a couple of retaining bolts in just to hold them in, and then we might do it up with a bit of help once my help gets back from the shops. Alright, well, they're in, and I can shake the whole vehicle based on this. They're not moving around at all since everything's tightened up. There are 4 bolts per panel. I'll add probably 6 later, or I'll add 2 more for each panel later. Our join between the 2 panels is easily accessible here. I'll zip tie that up where I can get to it. Our last panel connector is here. Our first one naturally is up the front. I reckon I can probably bring these up to a common point in the middle here, where I can join them onto my cable without having to have ridiculous lengths stripped off. and that should mean all my connections will be easily accessible on the curbside. And yep, our panels work. I'm worried that probably on rough ground they might vibrate a bit, but you know what, shit happens. I'm just going to deal with it. I will deal with that when it happens. I will have alternative charging methods. We're not going too far out of reach. We're not going really remote with this. It's just we want the convenience. So yeah, all right, break time again. I should have really waited for my help to do this, but she's going to tell me off something chronic when she gets back. Anyway, time for me to take a decent break. All right, so pending a junction box, I've got everything terminated up here. We've got our negative, we have our positive feed to the battery, positive from the panels. That's disconnected for now till I wire everything else up. I don't want 60 volts having a crack at me in the meantime. But our panels are up. There's a gap between them. I had hoped to butt them up together, but two reasons why I decided to do that. The primary one being I couldn't get a spanner in or a nut and bolt under here. Even with a magnet on a stick, it was just too difficult, so I left a gap. The second being, if I get a bit of dirt or grit, I'm worried that they're going to rub together over time and cause problems. So anyway, but it's all in very sturdy. This is all stiffened up. I've run the zip ties between both rails here. You can probably call them structural zip ties. Not what I'm relying on, but it helps add to the rigidity of these bars. But yeah, there will be more nuts and bolts going in later. I'll probably add some nylox in here just in case. This thing is moving a little bit because my apprentice is hiding in the back again. But we're pretty well done. We're running across the top here for the moment. I'll probably run over and zip tie onto that grill there. At some point we're going to have to lift that off to take the air conditioner out, but we can easily undo these bolts and lift these panels up when that time comes. For now, I'm not going to bother. We're leaving the flashing tape on here. When that degrades, then we'll put some silicone on it or do something serious. For the meantime, these should keep the water off those enough that it probably shouldn't drip in, but we'll find that out. Too tired and not enough energy to figure the rest out at the moment. But for now, this cable can just sit up here. I'm going to do the rest of this tomorrow. I am completely and utterly done for the day, and I think we're going to get rain anyway, so I'm done. So what we'll do, we'll just tuck these out of the rain a little bit and out of the way. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode because it's probably already very long in the tooth by now. So we'll see you in the next one when I clean up the battery bay. That's probably going to be a whole day on its own. So all right, see you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let's end this episode before it gets too windy. See you later.